Hello, ladies. I wanted to invite you both here, my two higher conscious being friends, to talk a little bit about, we're in the holidays right now, and I don't know if this is going to be a gift for Christmas, probably, or the New Year. Probably it'll be out for Christmas. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Athena, for being here early. I know it's early over there,
Yeah,
right?
good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm
We're
glad to
all
be here.
Yeah, we're all accommodating rain because I missed my workout today. Um,
Oh,
no, it's okay. It is. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know it's a busy time for some. Let's start with you both introducing who you are and what you do. You go first, Athena.
Okay. So I am Athena. Thank you again for having me. I'm excited to be here with both of you because I feel exactly the same way that I am in the midst of beautiful higher consciousness souls. So any conversation with you all is a gift to me. And I think being in community, especially around the holidays, remembering all of the love that we have is powerful, right? So I am an abundance and manifestation coach and teacher, and I work with women entrepreneurs to help them essentially get unstuck out of their businesses and connect to their higher consciousness and really manifest not only the abundance in their business, but the fullness of life as I define abundance in all of their life, right? Every area.
Beautiful. And Rain?
my name is Rain Elizabeth Stickney, and I have a private healing and meditation practice that began way back in 2000 doing shiatsu body work, which is a floor-based style of massage. And currently, I mostly work online. Um, And I hold consciousness counseling sessions and meditation groups. I have a daily gratitude practice, and everything I do is for the purpose of sparking the light within and sharing that light outward. So my vision is that the ripple effect is strong. And no matter if I'm one-on-one or in a small group or a large group, I am so excited about that ripple effect that can happen when people wake up.
Mhm. I love that. I love both of that. Both of your work in the world is so powerful and so important. And so tell us, what is your biggest challenge right now we're coming up to Christmas in a week. Do you either of you have any challenges and what does this holiday season look like for you? Either one can, you want to go first, Rain?
Sure. I am so excited about the holiday season. We as a family, meaning my partner and my son and me, we have learned a lot about each other over the years. And our son is 10, turning 11 in January. So there, there's so much mindfulness that I choose to have in our holiday celebration because there are moments to really let go of expectation. And there are moments of going along with somebody else's flow. And there are moments of stepping forward and saying, hey, this is what I really want. This is what I want to do. So that collaboration is happening in our family. And I'm happy to say that I just mailed out all of the Christmas packages this morning, and they'll all arrive prior to Christmas, which is a big win for me. And we're busy. We're a busy family. And I was just saying to my partner this morning that it's unbelievable how many things I do in a day. And the side note, the inside thought is I'm not even close to being done with all the things I need to do in a day. But yet there are so many things that I accomplish. And that acknowledgement is really important and very helpful for me that actually, whether or not the to-do list is done, I accomplish so much. And I believe we all do. I don't think that's personal to me. I feel it personally, but I invite all of us to notice all the amazing things we do every day.
Like that. Yes. How about you, Athena?
Well, I feel like this year has been an interesting year, just in general. And so the holidays are really following suit. This year is the first time that I've not been back home east, to be with family and friends, for either Thanksgiving or Christmas or New Year's. And so really cultivating the community here on the West Coast. And I did have my pet pass away almost a week ago now. And so it's an empty house too, which is a little unnerving. And at the same time, there's just this gentleness and light-filledness with the holidays, right? And that I can remember that I am always surrounded by love. I am never alone. And it's an interesting time because it's a lot of transition, right? It's me being able to define what it is that I'm going to do. And honestly, it's really being in the present moment, reminding myself during this time to be in the present moment and not romanticize the holidays. Ooh,
We lost you.
I'm
Okay.
here. So much energy. My video was like, oh. And just to remember that this is 1 year, this is one holiday season out of, I'm 38, so this is my 38th one, and hopefully I'll live a long and happy life. And who knows what will happen in the future, right? But being in the present moment and really appreciating all that is and accepting where I am with love and being excited for what the new year brings. I honestly don't really know what next year will look like. And on one hand, that can be scary as hell, but then on the other hand, it can be really freeing, right? And it's up to me to choose which perception I get to have in this moment with the holidays, with this upcoming year. So
Mm.
I'm just here, I'm just in it, and I'm really glad to be talking to you too.
Oh, I love that. Yes. So for me, I have been alone multiple times on the holidays, and I ultimately decided this year I will have a joyful, abundant, fun, blessed holiday season with the dog and friends or whoever, comes in. And like you said, Athena, this is everything's temporary and we get to enjoy the present moment. I know Rain talks a lot about presence, and both of you actually do. And I said at the beginning of the podcast, before I formally got started, that I chose you both as two higher conscious friends of mine to come on this holiday season to talk about the practices that you do and the challenges that you might be facing, and then what you're excited about. And, with the new year, how you are, I'd love to know how you're setting yourself up and thinking about like intention setting perhaps, or, I think we're all getting away from the word resolutions. And also just talk to you about what you do in the world with the abundance and the presence, because I mean, I'm very much the same. Like I'm always being mindful. And yesterday, guys, I substitute taught for fifth grade class here in Florida. And it was my first time ever. And back in, second grade, I wanted to be a teacher. And it was very eye-opening. And I'm going to share a little bit about my experience. And, but I want to talk about being present and the abundance and all of that. One question came to me when Rain was talking. When you say you accomplish all this in a day, and is this like pressure on you of any kind when you wake up and see this list or these ideas, like, or is it are you choosing to not have that? Like my newest thing is I'm being so conscious of how I'm feeling, that if I have this, because we all met through Kathy Heller's community, I believe, and she teaches like, what would ease look like? And so I'm really stepping into that because I want ease. I mean, I'm older than both of you. I'm 56. I've raised a son as a single parent. I overcame a debilitating illness. I changed my whole life 2 years ago, moved across the country. I've been the entrepreneurial journey is the growth journey, is the healing. I've been healing trauma from my childhood. I've been doing a lot of things. And I think you both probably noticed a difference in who I am from when you met me. I know you have, because you couldn't help but notice. And so I'm really noticing like why I put pressure on myself and just different things. So Rain, with all of your, accomplished in a day and all these things, do you have a sense of, is it ease, or are you choosing this like I have to do all these things? I'm just curious because this is what a lot of us as women were checking off boxes, and that makes us feel accomplished and productive and
Mhm. Well, first, I want to say that the word that comes to mind as I hear you speak, Linda, and also in the presence of both of you so far in our time together, the word empowered is so present for me. And not only is it the name of your show, Linda, but I find that you embody empowerment. You are so empowered. And what a blessing to share your empowerment with the world. And in the same, Athena, such an empowered woman you are. I see so much empowerment with what you're moving through right now and all that you've accomplished and lived through so far. And that empowerment shines forth in your manifestation, in your way of being present in the world. And so I feel very grateful to be here with both of you and to just have a moment with empowered women. Thank goodness. Thank goodness the space exists.
we're both in tears already for that. I appreciate it so much.
And the question about pressure is a really good one, and it runs very deep for me. I am a person who can feel pressure and sometimes too much. And the too much for me is that when I'm very dysregulated or not being mindful of my own self-care, I have the tendency of having panic attacks. And that is a very pressured experience for me. And panic attacks can mean different things for different people. Mine are very much like all of the energy is pressured inward and I spontaneously combust. And it's very painful for me. It's a very painful experience. And luckily, I don't have those panic attacks so often anymore, but it is something that I'm mindful of because where the pressure that I feel in my life may come and go, it's more beneficial for me to be in good relationship with that pressure because I love my life so much. And I love being embodied in joy as much as possible. Sometimes pressure really works for me. And so the example I gave of mailing the Christmas packages, it did feel like pressure yesterday to get them all packaged and who goes to what family and where are the addresses and where's the box for this and all the details that can go into mailing packages. And I wanted to get it done yesterday and I missed my deadline yesterday. So I was able to mail them today. And there is pressure there. But the blessing is that for me, when pressure is worked with well, think of a pressure cooker or different times that you want to have pressure, the pressure of a diamond becoming a diamond. It needs a lot of pressure to become that gem that we so treasure. When it is part of the creative process, I'm just a cauldron of transformation. So this mess of gift ideas becomes very cleanly organized gift mailings. And that this time around happened through some pressure, but it was also a creative fit, so to speak. And I don't mind my creative fits. That's how I created my podcast. That's how I created my business. That's how I sit in healing with people because sometimes the pressure is creating a beautiful gemstone. And as long as there's enough health and wellness in the pressure, it doesn't bother me.
Interesting. Because if I can be honest and forward like I am, I think it's I was listening going, but what if the packages didn't arrive by Christmas? Like, what is this, like a perfectionism thing that you have, that
Mhm.
you know, want things a certain way? Or, I mean, like, it's beautiful that you did all that. It's beautiful that you know, your whole conversation around pressure, but it's something you choose. We choose, right? So you chose, you're choosing, and you're saying, like, this is how I work best under but I'm thinking pressure is deadlines for, like, your job, that you have to get something done, or blah blah blah. But you put that pressure on you and on your own, because you want these packages there by Christmas. You want this and this, and perhaps, you know, there's a lot of reason behind that that I don't know about, but I was just thinking, you know, that you're choosing it, and just curious on that.
Mhm. I love your curiosity, and there might be a little bit of a misinterpretation
Okay,
here.
probably.
Um, and so I'll fill in some gaps and just see where it all lands.
Sure.
I, first of all, I let pieces fall in ways that I don't intend all of the time.
Okay.
So the blessing of the packages being scheduled to arrive before Christmas, of course, what really happens, who knows? Like
Right.
packages
No.
get lost,
Yeah.
packages get late, like
Sure.
they get delivered to the wrong address, like who knows? So there is an immense amount of letting go that I live with. It
Sure.
really isn't my business. Like I do my part and the universe does the rest.
Yeah.
So it was a joy for me. It was actually a happy surprise when I arrived with my big bundle of gifts, and the nice gentleman at the post office did all the things of tagging the packages, and then I got my receipt, and it just happened to say December 23rd on most, I think, all of the packages, but I didn't even expect that. I just wanted to do my part
Yeah. No,
to honor my community.
that's beautiful.
And the putting on pressure for me is more like, boy, if I could get everything done early and be on time for everything, not in a perfectionistic way, in a relaxed way. If I could do all of that and like always have a deep breath and always have 5 minutes prior to a call to sit in silence or whatever my ideal is, great. Does that happen? No,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay. I get to be me, and I honor everyone as themselves as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, of course. Yeah. No, believe me, I'm queen of adding things. That's why I'm being conscious now. And, like, I was in a group the other day, and they said, like, choose a word for 2025, and I chose ease immediately. Like, ease is what I am looking for. I'm
Mhm.
also looking for expansion and abundance, and, you know, prosperity and things of that nature. But so what are you excited about? Athena, you go first.
I'm going to jump into that part of the conversation too, because I love ease. Ease is one of my favorite things in the entire world. So
I know.
I,
I love
I
it.
think for me at least, there was this really interesting transition that had to happen with my relationship with ease. So tightly wound, and I had to do so many things, right? When I was working for somebody else or really not living my life authentically and in alignment, right? And so there was a lot of pressure, not just from the deadlines that I was trying to meet for other people, right? Like being employed or doing the things in the right time um, that my conditioning said, like make sure you get those Christmas cards out before Christmas, or like, all the things that we as women are told that we need to be doing during the holiday season. And for me, and what I think Rain was really embodying is this different energy, this different relationship with ease, because now it's not something that I feel I have to do or that motivates me externally, but it's actually something that motivates me internally, because I have spent so much time now with my relationship with ease and with my relationship to myself to take the pressure off of myself externally and allow myself to fully come into what do I actually want during the holiday season? Is it to get those packages out by the certain day, or is it to feel exactly how Rain was describing? This ease, this joy actually of this accomplishment and this letting go and surrender of I did my part and I'm so excited for whenever my community receives their presents and packages, right? There's a different energy behind it because it's no longer an external, I have to get it out by a certain date. So they have this beautiful moment before Christmas as if that's it's an arbitrary date, right? It really is. And it's more of a, oh, you know what would be really lovely if they got it before. And if they don't, that's okay too. But I'm not going to stress myself out
Yeah.
because they probably don't even give a crap, right? I mean, they don't really care. It's really just me. And so I feel like it's this beautiful relationship that we get to have where it's from an external pressure. And then we get to change it into what would be the most fabulous way to do this, or what would be the most easeful way for me to do this. And then everything else just works itself out.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so what, let's see, energy, you're talking about energy, which is so powerful and so important because I think we all are in agreement that everything's energy, period. End of story, right? It's all energy. And I've been really mindful on that by doing energy healing. I hired an energy healer this year. I mean, I was in something where they were asking us to write down what we did this year, and I was like, wow, I've done so many things. But energy is so incredible, and I think it just makes all the difference when we pay attention to that, right? So that's why I was asking, what are you guys excited about? Because I'm all about being in the energy of positivity, excitement, what's to come. I was at my real estate, I still have my real estate license here. They had a big party Saturday night at the yacht club. And he said, we're going to thrive in 2025. And he talked about we're not just surviving, we're thriving. And like, I love that message. I love that thrive in 25. And so I would love to talk about what you might be excited for, what motivates you, and anything else you want to. This is just a conversation with each other because, like I said, and I'd love to know how you're taking care of yourselves. And I think it sounds like Athena, you're choosing ease like I am as well. And I know we're all just doing our best and enjoying our lives. And my biggest thing is thank you, God, for a new day and being present. And you teach that, Rain. And that's even the name of your website or something, right? Presence or
Well, at Pictures of Presence is my Instagram handle.
yeah, because as these higher conscious beings, we know being present is all like we have is right now, this moment, right?
Mhm.
And that's the best way to live. That way you can not be in fear and all these things and future tripping and, depression from the past and all that.
Linda, I would even say that presence is prior to energy, and where everything that we can think, feel, see, touch is made up of energy. Prior to that energy is presence, just to discern my view. And it may or may not be both of yours or our listeners' views, and that's perfectly fine. We all get to have our own view. But for me, presence is equal to source, is equal to whatever word we want to put into what we find to be the eternal, beginningless and endless.
I love that. It's beautiful. And the power is in the present moment. I mean, there's books written on it. I had Kathleen Cameron on the show. I don't know if you guys know who she is, but she's a huge thing right now, teaching spiritual, teaching abundance, teaching, so many beautiful things. She's written 2 books and she says, all we have is the present. Like that's it. So I love that so much. Um, and so presence first and energy next. Do you want to explain a little more?
Oh, I could go there. Um,
A whole podcast on that.
yeah.
Probably.
So there is a spiritual tradition that I really love called Advaita Vedanta. And just like in any spiritual or religious tradition or philosophical tradition, there is a creation story. And the creation story of Advaita Vedanta is that um, presence is prior to everything, but as things come into form, the order goes space, air, fire, water, earth. Those are the elements that they talk about in that tradition. And so, in order to get space, you first have to have presence. And energy is in there too. So, energy would, I'm not sure what a more scholared person of that tradition would say. Energy is a very, it's a very timely word. It's science, it's new agey. We can interpret energy in different ways, but sometimes I like to think of energy as the play of life, as Leela. So you have this manifestation of the world, and in that world, there's this natural divine energy that plays with everything, and it creates these synchronicities. It creates it creates everything. And in that play, there's a bit of chaos theory. So there's a little bit of the unexpected all of the time. And there's also, that's where we can manifest that from my perspective. We can tap into Leela and allow Leela to help us play with the universe and say, I want that fancy new car. And if we play, if we co-create, there's the universe to co-create with us.
Mhm. Absolutely. And who's Leela? Is that a god?
Well, Leela, it's actually it's just a word that means divine play, but you're right, it's become a name for many, many people.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Nice.
a Sanskrit word and it means divine play.
My understanding and what my experience is choosing love over fear is where the creation begin. You can have anything. You can have, be, and do anything you desire. And I was programmed from a young age of fear and lack and scarcity and all the things, separation, judgment, every possible thing that we should not believe, think, or do is what I, have my software was programmed. So that's why it's so important to pay attention to be mindful of your thoughts, of your feelings, of your energy, all of it. And anyway, I wanted to share about these girls that I was talking to in fifth grade yesterday, and I thought something was two things I want to share. One is I asked them what they want to be, and they would say, I want to be an actress, but if that doesn't work, I'm going to be a photographer. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to be, I can't remember all the things, but it was like, if that doesn't work, this, if that doesn't work, it was like five in a row. And I was like, each one of them were like, and then if that doesn't work, I want to be this. And if that doesn't work, and one girl's like, I want to be an influencer. And I'm like, oh, I'm an influencer. Anyway, it was just funny. They're like, you are you on TikTok? Anyway, but it kind of saddened me when they kept saying, if that doesn't work, if that doesn't work. How about you two? How does that resonate? Like, what do you think when you hear? I'm not judging. I was just observing and finding it fascinating. And I feel like that is the programming from and conditioning from family that's saying realistic, logical, it may not work, like my friend who went to the party with me, he's like, oh yeah, I wanted to do photography, but my one uncle said you can't make money in photography, or, you know, this kind of thing. Any opinions or comments on anything? And then the other thing I wanted to share with you guys is, I asked them, because we had a long day and it's the holiday week, and it's a school of creative arts. Actually, it's not like it's like a charter school. It wasn't like a normal. But I said, we're going to say two things we like about ourselves. I didn't say love about ourselves. And this girl immediately says, oh my God, that's so hard. And then one goes, nothing.
Hmm.
And it was interesting. These are 11-year-olds.
I'm excited that you were there. I'm excited that you're listening to these little women and that you're a different presence in their lives that they probably don't get right at home or from society in general, right? And also, we can remember when we were 11 years old and we probably did and said similar things, right? I'd really like to do this. We do this now. I'd really like to do this, but I'd really like to do this, but, right? I mean, that's something that's that a lot of us deal with still, right? But remembering and tuning into, and again, especially as such young women, it's good to have a mentor here who believes and thinks differently and who is an example of an embodiment of what could be, right? The limitless possibilities that we know are available to us. That's It's a good reminder that our society and we as families and friends of young ones are still conditioning girls to question themselves and to not necessarily be bold and um, about all the beautiful things that make us up, right? And I'm sure that, especially as tween girls, having that question be posed to them probably was like, "Ooh, I don't know. I don't want to say anything because I don't want to look like I am out there and myself, right? That can be really vulnerable to pick out things that we like about ourselves at such a young age too, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure there was all of that going on. And at the same time, and I'm sure you felt this way, you probably wanted to like give them a hug and be like, whisper like self-worth things into their ears, right? like there's a different way. It's okay to love yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you're a presence for them.
Thank
And
you.
that and if you enjoyed it and you feel called to it, I hope that you continue to do some work in that area because I know in general you are so good to your son. You are so good to you have a heart for this. You do, not just for the clients that you serve with your coaching business and being a real estate agent, but like you have something in your heart for working with children. And so I'm interested to see where this actually takes you as well.
Mhm. You're so beautiful. Very intuitive. Yeah. That's so interesting because the day was like so long and I've been texting with the actual teacher for all day yesterday and then last night and today even for a couple of reasons. And she but it's I felt like there was a lot of chaos too and in the day. And so I'm not used to a lot of what I experienced, but when I came home and was in peace and presence and quiet, I was enjoying and loving it. And I just wanted to take a bath and but I was trying to decide, is this draining or is this life-giving? I was really trying to figure that out. Um, so thank you for that. Thank you so much. And yeah, well, later I mean, I didn't make anyone say anything like that. All the boys wanted to be soccer players, but and I didn't make them say anything they liked. But when they talked about who they were grateful for, other people, oh, because she's so nice and she's always there for me. And they were talking about their friends. So that was really, and then later I go, you could say, I like my eyes. I like my, she said, oh yeah, I like my eyes. I like my this. And, they started saying some things. So it was just, yeah, I was just trying to, but I thought that was really interesting for me. And then, at the recess, they were playing charades. And then the one girl I said, what do you guys have going for Christmas? And one girl said, we're not having Christmas this year.
Mhm.
And, it was just kind of interesting listening and hearing, and yeah, there's so much going on.
Mhm.
So if you were leaving the planet tomorrow, what message, what What do you want to share with those girls, with society? What do you want to leave? What one thing do you want to
Hmm.
share? Either one.
Well, I want to start here in our little circle, our circle of three. And Linda, from what Athena's, okay, wait, now I'm going to go back to Athena. You're such an amazing listener, Athena. You're like,
Thank you.
okay, you're not like, you are a rock star listener. I really appreciate your listening capability and your wisdom in reflecting back.
Thank you.
I
I
love that.
received that, Rain. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And so from Athena's amazing listening, all of a sudden I had an idea. Linda, what if you started empowerment groups for children?
Mm, yeah,
Just an idea.
I had one for 18 to 30 with my son. We started one, it was called Empower You Network. And we only had one person, and then she didn't want to continue. But it wasn't that young. It was, the 18 to 30. And because of these boys killing themselves at 22 and different things. So no, I love
Oh,
that idea, Rain. And
mhm,
I should explore it again because, patience is one of my spiritual assignments. And I wasn't patient enough. I didn't give it enough time. I probably didn't have the right audience at the time, too. But
mhm,
I really
mhm,
do feel passionate about this topic
mhm, mhm.
of helping young
Well,
people to value
yeah.
themselves and value life and know that they can be, do, and have anything. In fact, when we were, I think I was going to finish with the girl that said she's not having Christmas later. They were talking about being rich and these different things. And I just looked at them and I said, you can decide you're going to be rich and then you can have it. And I was just trying to help them. Because, I know that that's powerful to when you decide. So,
Mhm.
and it's coming for sure. And rich is, obviously it means something different to everybody, but financially rich we were talking about. So,
Financial richness is a wonderful resource to have.
yeah.
So helpful.
Yeah.
And I hear your passion, Linda. So wherever it takes you, I completely trust you. It is a different era now. We're in a bit of a different age. So just in case,
Yeah.
I could just feel that one of my messages for the universe was for you. If empowerment groups for children speak to you in any way, I needed to say it.
Yeah. Thank you. No, you're right. I mean, perhaps there is some way that I can serve the youth with this. Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
And for everyone, for the greater audience, it's exactly this. Do the thing that you love. Follow your passion. And what I hear in those children that you described, Linda, I heard the possibility of the pivot, the possibility of preparing for, I'm going to put on another hat. And my son is in that age group. He's in fifth grade. And so the fifth graders I know, like, they're all over the place. They're playing soccer, they're dressing up as Egyptians, they're just so themselves and figuring it out and also stepping into those teen years. So, yeah, great. You have 5 or 6 things you might want to be. How fun. How fun. Shall we make a wardrobe for you? Like, what do you want to do with that?
Yeah, exactly.
And and so for every age, every gender, every person, every spirit, what lights you up? And
Mm,
how do you want to light up the world? And do that and grow confidence in that and experiment and play and have fun. And yes, there can be some nitty gritty with any job, but if you love it enough, it's going to be good.
mm-hmm. I love that. Absolutely.
I love that too. Can I piggyback off that actually? So I was thinking about, well, if we took away all of the conditioning and all the programming that we had as we were growing up, right? And we chose exactly who we wanted to be. And this is obviously an evolution with growth and expansion. And if we've stripped down like all the things that made up who we were previously, and we're choosing what we're wanting to create and who we're becoming and what we're wanting to do, right? What is actually the motivation for that, right? Because when we're younger, it is really our parents, society, etc., who are essentially molding us into what they expect us to become or what they believe creates a successful life, right? And if we get to a point where we're very awakened to all of that, and we have chosen that that is not how we want to be anymore or who we want to be, what is it when we get into this kind of neutral place, right? Like we're moving out of our conditioning and our programming, we're finding out who we actually are, and we're leaving those pieces behind. That what does that future look like, right? What is that based upon, right? And that's all the internal work, right? The inner work that we're doing. And I think, just like Rain was saying, I think what really motivates us in this awakened period, this more aligned, authentic version of ourselves, is truly those desires, right? And so not just from a desire aspect of, ooh, it would be nice to manifest this or to have this or whatever, but really looking at, what is it that I value? What is it that I'm wanting to experience? What, with your question, if I were to leave the world tomorrow, what would my legacy be? And
Mhm.
really getting deeply in tuned with that, and then moving and creating from that space, right? Because there's no more of the conditioning. Of course, it will always come up, but we get to choose differently, right, as we move forward. But that is really that deep seated, deep rootedness of who we are becoming, really
Mhm.
intentionally, right? So
Mhm.
the desires, I loved that, Rain. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're, to sum up, what you would leave behind to tell the world is that you get to remove all the conditioning programs and choose what you
Mm.
desire and go for it and have it and be, do, have whatever you desire once you decide and choose, right? And remove the, like, get the, perhaps it's hypnosis or whatever it is, it's going to help you take away the old stories and programs.
Right, exactly. And that we don't have to know it all either, right? Like when we're in this space, and I'm talking from real life experience right now, like everything that I had on the East Coast when I moved to the West Coast is gone. All of it is completely gone, right? And so instead of being like, oh shit, like I'm really scared, right? I can look at this as like a complete and utter strip down of who I was, and just be like, okay, now, like, how do I want to move forward? What does that look like? And I don't need to know. In fact, I don't know, right? Because we live in that present moment, what that next year is going to look like. However, if I get in tune with my values and who I am at the core of me, and my, and what I want to experience, then that will lead us. And that's always, even at 11, they already know that, right? They're already playing around with the multiple ideas. It's really all the rest of that conditioning and programming that gets on top of that, that then they're like, well, I don't know now, or I'm not sure I believe that I can have it anymore, right? That's where that programming is. So we can get to a point as an adult where we've stripped all that away to then choose again with that lightness of spirit and being connected back to who we really are to create our reality, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. We were also reading a book called The Wish Wish. I don't know if you know the story, but we started it and it's about a girl that's in foster care because her dad fights and is in jail and her mother doesn't get out of bed. And we didn't get far in the book, but they were sharing about it and it talked about at 11:11 she would make a wish. And the
Mhm.
girls were like, and I said, "Oh, that works. That's true." They were, "What? That works? Are you going to tell me? Wait, tell me when it's 11:11. Tell me when it's 11:11." I was like telling them that it works, and they were so excited. But we didn't get deep into it, but I was like, the book Wish, I just thought that was really cute. And I just yeah, it was eye-opening, the whole experience yesterday. And I don't think anyone goes to become a school teacher for the money or anything. It's really a passion and desire to work with kids and stuff. And it was, yeah, it was overall, it was good. I'm still, like I said, trying to figure out different things. I was going back to school part-time in 11 before I got sick. So, Athena, you talk about abundance, and that's your business. And now you're doing manifesting, right? And tell us
Mhm.
some different strategies that you're using for that.
So I think the thing that has been really interesting for me recently, especially with kind of where I am, is allowing myself to feel all the feelings,
Mhm.
all of it. All of it is welcome here because I think a lot of times when we're talking about abundance and manifestation and positive attitudes and vibes and things like that, we're really um, kind of bypassing some of our humanness, right? And our humanness is this experience of having emotions and feelings and having days that are complete shit, right? And like accepting it for what it is and knowing that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And instead of pushing against or away from those feelings, when we really move into them and give ourselves the permission to feel them, A, we are not overtaken by them. And B, when we really are doing practices that allow those emotions and that energy to come up and flow out of us, we are regulating our nervous systems and our bodies at a different level. So you talk about ease and peace, right? And joy. And we often do this in our community. And cognitively, conceptually, we only get to a certain point and we have to move into our bodies to release all that energy that's been pent up from years and years of this conditioning and the programming that says you're not supposed to have any feelings, big girls don't cry, et cetera, right? And then when we become more in tune with our body and we're regulating and we're allowing and we're releasing, right, we become this vessel that not only holds so much more, manifests more in alignment and authenticity, but you going back to the presence and present moment, right? We learn to love what is occurring in our reality so much more because we can hold it, we can feel it, we can allow it to come in and then move out, right? We're not holding on, we're not grasping to anything any longer. We're just allowing things to move through us. And I think when we talk a lot about the fullness of life, that's really a lot of what we're wanting, right? We want to feel good. When we manifest, it's usually not the thing that we want that we're manifesting. It's usually some feeling underneath it that we're really wanting, right? And so when we allow ourselves to really have the full range of emotions and feelings, man, we get so much more in tune with who we are.
I think that's beautiful. I think that's also healing. When you're
Mm.
feeling, you're healing, which creates a different version of you because you're
Mm.
no longer, like you said, with the trapped, energy, emotions and all that. So you're now like lighter and freer, and it's shining a light instead of, like you said, bypassing, like, oh, I don't want to feel that. I don't want to think that way. I'm going to shift and choose something else, which you can do, but it's also important to notice and put a light there, like anything, when you face the truth and you face it, it goes away, right? Like I'm not,
Mm.
So did you, Rain, want to share anything on that? What
I
she
100% agree about feeling all the feels and being this welcoming space that Athena so beautifully described.
hmm
So I'm on board. Yep.
Yeah, and then Tracy
Go
Litt,
for it.
yeah, Tracy Litt, who's a spiritual teacher and author, and I went to her event in Palm Beach, and it was capacity, and what she shared was that holding more space to hold is not the way. It's letting go. It's letting go. It's not about holding more. It's about letting go. And I think a lot of all of this work between gratitude and you know, intentions and feeling the feelings and, you know, um, healing, is surrender, period, because we
Mhm.
can't control. We just can't. We're not going to control. Yes, we can be, do, and have these things that we choose and we decide, but ultimately it's a higher source and power and that's going to bring it. It's just embodying, like you said, that version, that vibration, that attract that's gonna, yeah, you agree? I'm trying to articulate. I'm not doing a great
Yeah,
job.
no,
There,
no. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Rain.
oh, just to chime in for a second, there's a counterbalance as well, where a person can get flooded by too many feelings. There can be a skill that's developed in titrating and being able to zip up when needed or save some for later when needed. Um, and some of this has to do with a person's constitution. So some people are just naturally more closed, they've just gone inward, and some people are naturally more open. And often the open people actually need to find a way to contain more, not so much in the way you're speaking of it right now, Linda. So I'm not contradicting what you're saying. It's like a muscle. Like we all need to open and close appropriately. And emotionally, that can be helpful to prevent flooding
Mm.
or to know what to do when flooding starts to happen.
Yeah, right. I was concerned about flooding actually when I was in the spiritual store the other day. There was so much energy in there and I
Yeah.
just felt it. And I exited and I was like, there's just too much happening in here. But and then the school, you know, with the kids when they were, but they were like, you're chill. And there was something else they were saying. And I got up at 4 a.m. and because I didn't, when the alarm, I was like, you know what? I'm up. I'm just going to stay up and have my morning practices. Anyway, I didn't want to be late and all that stuff. I was super excited, but the they were saying like something about being chill and then when the funnest part I have to just throw in for humor when I was like something about my age came up and they were like you're 27, oh you're 36, and I was like I love you guys, here's some stickers. I'm like, oh my God, I could be your grandma, okay? I'm 56. And they're like, you're 56. And it was just, that was so much fun. I mean, there were a lot of little fun things. Um, but anyway, but yeah, the energy thing is the flooding. That's interesting. And what would be a result of the flooding? Like, is that where panic might occur or?
It can. It can. It, I, we are definitely at a crux of a deeper conversation. But if we imagine parenting, that's something I embody. I'm a parent, and so are you, Linda. And, you know, there are times when the practical really does need to get done. You know, maybe the child needs to get to school. I'll give you an example. It was when the Ukraine war began between Ukraine and Russia, and my partner was out of town. And I have loved ones in Ukraine, so I was feeling a lot about that war. And it was also very snowy that day, and I was like, I have to get my son to school, but I'm a mess. I was bawling. I was frightened and I was feeling all the feels. And in order to manage my feeling state and take care of the practical, I texted a friend, a mom. I'm like, and she's like, that is so understandable. Of course, you're upset. You can arrive to school anytime you need to. Don't worry about it, which was a really helpful reminder because here's the theme of pressure again. Oh no, I have to get to school on time. And
Mm.
then the reminder from a kind hearted soul, hey, you're good. We gotcha. Just arrive when you can. And it took the pressure off. And I also didn't need to feel it all in that moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can still feel my feelings about war, Ukraine. I have loved ones who are Russian too. So this is not taking sides. It's just a lot of feelings for me and practical things that need to be taken care of, which is a moment to find a little bit of closure to move forward.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that vulnerable story and that true, you know, sharing the actual, that's a great example. Thank you. And yeah, I still see, well, just it came to me that perfection mom, like you want super, you're super mom, you got to get your kid to school on time. Gotta get the packages to the, no, I'm just kidding. It's just came to me. But yeah, no, I totally resonate, because I used to be super mom, or try to be, but now if I went back, it'd be way different. But yeah, thank you for sharing that vulnerable story. That makes total sense that you would, that's a great example of.
Can I just ask a question? Because I'm not a parent. Um, as much as we talk about moving out of our conditioning and patterning and things like that, I assume that it's a lot easier for us to do individually. But then when it comes to concerns with your children, it's almost a different story. It's another level, right? I mean, like for you and yourself, you can be like, okay, because when I heard that story, I was just like, well, of course you can like take your kid whenever, like take a little day off, like don't worry about it. It's no big deal, right? But for you to have another mother essentially give you self permission to come anytime, you already know that, Rain. But it was
Mhm.
almost as if you needed another mother to give you permission for your child. And so I wonder, A, if that's a correct assumption, and then
Mhm.
B, is it that it's a deeper level of being able to almost transfer this consciousness, the way that you feel for yourself, to your family, to your young ones.
Yes. So all of that and more. And there's probably an element that's just about my personality too. So I can think back to when I was around 38, Athena, maybe even a little bit younger, but doing the same work, um, and very much in alignment with where you might be in your life right now. And for me at that time in my life, I was healing a lot of trauma, my personal trauma, as well as offering healing work to others. It all often involved healing their trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, my point is that there were moments back then before being a mom that I would also feel very deeply about something personal, something important. And sometimes in those moments, I would call my therapist and I'd say, I have a client in a half hour, but I'm freaking out. What do I do? And sometimes the acknowledgement, I'm looking for a different word, permission, attunement. Um, there's another word that I can't quite find yet. But she would say to me, Rain, sometimes it's okay just to be there for another person. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. And that was another moment where I had to honor, or I got to choose. It wasn't a have to, but there was a practical thing in my path that my feeling state was not um, going to be able to support. And to have somebody else's input in my psyche when I get into my state of, oh no, what do I do? To have a healing and kind thought come in, whether it's this day and age from a mom, that day and age from another healer, or what have you, just somebody who's kind and who can see me and say, all is well, move forward, you got this. Because in my constitution, similar to what you were saying, Linda, I had a terrible childhood. And I don't mean that your childhood was terrible. So that's my word. But there are some things that you were speaking of that sounded similar to my version of a terrible childhood. And it's very helpful in my most difficult places to have input that's different from what my child self heard.
Mm-hmm.
And so as an adult, I sometimes need to hear, it's fine,
Mm-hmm.
you're good, or this situation's going to work out, or I see you, or,
I mean, we can talk
that sort of thing.
hours. I'm just gonna say, like, you could be, that your son belongs at school at a certain time, and you just want to do the right thing for your son. And, at the same time, you've got all this going on, and then the weather, and like, of course, fact that you asked another mom and she reminded you that
Right.
you can be there late and that there's no hurry and it's a snow day and all these things. And of course, you're human. And I'm just hearing things about you, Rain. I always look at you as a powerhouse, as just a brilliant soul, both of you. And so I'm listening going, wow, she's also human too, right? Because didn't
So
you,
human.
you've been meditating, your mother was meditating when you were a baby, right? And you
Yeah.
were beside
Mhm.
her. I remember that. So I was like, it's just interesting. We are human as well. So we have to realize that we're not always going to be, especially if you have, the crazy going on with your family in the Ukraine and stuff. But yeah, that was a great question, Athena, to know. I think we just, when we have a responsibility of another human, like a child, we just always put them before us, period. And that's just a program as well. It's, you want to do the right by your child. And, like I had the ex who, I had that on my, like, if I don't get him to school on time, like, oh my God, he's taking him away from me or something,
Oh.
like that kind of, but no, it's, I was exaggerating there, but, yeah, it's interesting. There was something else about the school. Oh, I wanted to bring up to you guys is we had a fire drill. It was such a long day, and we were outside, and there was the oldest grade is eighth, and these eighth graders were standing, and we're outside. It's beautiful summer. There's, Florida weather, and this one teacher, like I witnessed more than once the teachers being extremely mean, like the words they chose and how they spoke to these kids. It wasn't really necessary. I was like all about homeschool. I was like,
Mhm.
homeschool is the way. I'm just saying. So that just really, she like yelled at these kids for not standing in a straight line
Mhm.
at the fire drill. And it was so, I just was, like, it was like triggered. It was a massive trigger for me.
Mhm.
And so but I do understand that people have to work, and dropping them off at school is a thing, and
Such a thing.
it's a thing. It's a thing, yeah.
It's
But
such a thing.
and also that even when they were out of control and I had to call, they have like first of all, every door is locked in the school. And I know it's a safety thing, but like everywhere we go, lock this, keys. I mean, it just, that's a whole other world that we didn't have. I don't know.
Mhm.
You, Athena, probably you didn't have that either. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, it's just interesting, but so let's change gears and go towards intention setting, the new year, vibrations, getting excited about things. And, what are you guys doing for the new, like planning, thinking about choosing a word, an intention, goals, anything like that for the new year? Just curious.
I'll go. I don't really do any of that anymore. I don't really do resolutions. I don't even do intentions. I don't even do words, honestly. I feel like I continue to have faith in and believe in life unfolding the way it's meant to, as directed by my desires. And so I think for me, the how is completely surrendered at this moment in time. And I I don't need to necessarily direct it any more than that. And maybe it's just this ritualistic thing that I'm not
A fan of.
um into. I think it's more of an everyday unfolding and allowing, and also manifesting. So I don't necessarily need, time is not a real thing, right? It's
Yeah.
not really a thing. It's a human made concept.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm just going to continue to live the way that I've been living and continue to grow and expand and change that as what feels aligned and good, and give people permission to do the same, right? Every single day is a new day. Every single day there's a new intention, there's a new unfolding, a new manifestation. Every day we get to pivot and experiment and see what the universe brings us and what we're creating. So for me, it's just open, and I'm excited to start a new month. And that's kind of it for me.
Okay, will you share what a desire might be? It doesn't have to be a desire for 2025, but perhaps just, you said following desire. Can you share a little bit of a what?
Yeah.
Not more, but a what?
Yes. So in 2025, I desire to live on the ocean.
Mm,
Yeah.
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 okay,
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And you, Rain, for the new year, whether it's a ritual or a, intention, or do you do anything?
Mhm. Yes, I do all those things, and it's really been introduced to me by my mother as a child. And New Year's Day was always a day of goal setting and affirmations and lists and plans. It was very exciting. I really enjoyed it. So I have a lot of joy in that kind of intention setting. And truthfully, the first of the year is still a little way off. So I don't know how I will feel that day. But what I do know is that I want to circle around to something that you mentioned, Linda, and then Athena, you've chimed in on a bit, and that is about ease, and also that we all met through Kathy Heller. And one of the things that Kathy Heller gave to me was this instruction on ease. I do have a tendency to make things very difficult for myself. So, in my moments where I might feel a lot of pressure, I do tend now to ask myself, what would be easy? What is the easiest thing to do right now? And I do it, and I trust it, and I trust it more than ever. And these thoughts are relatively new in my life. I didn't used to think that way. And it's very, very helpful, not just in the rough moments, but just in general, to consider what would be the easy thing to do, or what would be
11:11.
fun.
I'm sorry, it's 11:11 here.
All for the fun.
Wish granted.
Okay, ocean home for Athena. Rain, what is your wish? And then mine is a new aligned business and a new location too at Waterside here. I think we're,
Embodied joy through and through.
yay, love it. Okay,
Yeah.
back to what you were saying.
Um, yeah, I also wanted to say that I feel very excited about continuing to do my best to be a really good example for my son. And that's something that I was picking up on from you, Athena, something that you reflected back, that it's true, the moments of me reaching out, me having self-care in my life is for me. And I'm aware that I'm also modeling for a younger person as he grows into his life, wherever it takes him. And I'm just trusting the unfolding, kind of like what I hear in this. I think we make a beautiful team. There's something different that each of us adds. And I want to spend a moment admiring the team, the teamwork that's here. And each of us make this beautiful constellation or a mandala or something that has never before existed. And I appreciate being a part of this lovely team.
Thank you. Me too. I thought of inviting someone else and I said, no, I think I have it. I have a good, because of the energies and like that, like I said, the higher conscious beings, you teaching presence and abundance, and me also being a spiritual leader. I mean, that's just, I've been studying this for so long, and finding Kathleen Cameron, I just want to, if you guys aren't familiar, like she's a different kind of Kathy Heller, and she teaches differently, and I'm really, really loving what I'm learning from her. There's just little tweaks. She's a really good teacher. Are you following her, Athena?
I'm writing her name now.
K with a Kathleen with a K, Cameron with a C. Um, she studied under Bob Proctor, and she's just blown up, and such a beautiful soul. And her episode is on my podcast. You can listen to it. Are you still doing alcohol-free, Athena? Am I allowed to ask?
Yes, you bet. You bet. I'm so glad too to be doing it because I think when big changes in life have come previous, it's there has been wine involved. And so with the passing of the pet recently, there were a couple of moments where I was like, oh yeah, yeah, this would be where I would have a glass of wine now.
Mhm.
Um, and it feels really good not to.
Good for
And it
you.
feels really good to sit in those feelings and just be like, oh, yeah, no, I'll just cry instead. I'll just
Yeah,
really cry hard. And you know what? It feels a hell of a lot better. A
good.
hell of a lot
That's
better.
amazing. Good for
Mm.
you. Yeah,
Thank
Kathleen
you.
doesn't drink either. She stopped drinking by choice because she felt closer to God, and she felt it wasn't serving her. And same with me. I was at that holiday party, and I thought, he's like, oh, it's something about drinking. I'm like, nope, I'm having a mocktail. And that's my new fun thing, is to get a mocktail, because
Mm.
it's fun and fruity and whatever. But this is lovely. I love that you noticed, Rain, that you brought that up, that we are a nice triad or threesome over here. So who are your favorite, let's see, favorite books, favorite mentors, favorite activities on the holidays? Just something to give the audience maybe, or who has been your most, I know that Athena, you're always like studying from, let's see, Byron Katie, and then you went to see Eckhart Tolle, and
You know who I really love right now is Glennon Doyle.
really,
Yeah, Untamed. I don't know if you guys have read that book, but it is so, so good. And she's got a
Mhm.
great podcast. And then the book also has like a journaling companion. And that companion journal has really helped um, with looking at the way that I view the world right now. So, past conditioning and patterning, recognizing that, recognizing where I am now, and where I'd like to go in the future. It's really good. So, when I was talking about like becoming fully, you know, authentic and aligned and stripping away all that conditioning and programming, the book and the companion journal have been really good at helping the focus of that, to
mm,
really put it to paper and really see where that is and how I'd like it to transition. So I highly recommend those.
yeah, since you
Mhm.
mentioned that, because you did tell me, and I started re-listening to her audio, because you know how we grow all the time and we're different. So now when we listen or read a book again, it's like, oh, you took something, you're more like aware, and you take something away. And I did start listening to her book again. It's so good. You're right. It is really, really good. Like when she gave the example of the boys and the girls were all watching a movie, and she came into the room and asked, are you hungry? And the boys said yes. And the girls had to look at each other before they answered. Like,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh my goodness, right? Rain, did you want to share one of your favorite books, mentors, activities?
I feel so inspired to say Andrea Gibson. She is a poet. She's all over Instagram and the internet. She's the Colorado Poet Laureate, and she also has very severe cancer. And the reason why I'm thinking of her is because a documentary was just made about her life and her partnership with her wife or partner. I don't remember if they're married or not, but definitely life partners. I think her partner's name is Megan. But the reason why I'm thinking about Andrea Gibson is because Glennon Doyle was involved in the production of that documentary. And so it's just being released around this time. And the thing about Andrea Gibson that I learned from is the harsh reality of this beautiful life and how we can be in love in every moment and also be very present to whatever is the most challenging. The challenge doesn't ever have to take away from the love, and yet the love doesn't ever have to minimize the challenge. And the way that she balances the contrast of light and dark and what is found in our life and all the shades is the most beautiful thing. And I have a deep love for poetry anyway. She's one of my absolute favorite poets. So very modern day, you know, timely right now. That is one person who I listen to when I see her speak, when I read her words. And when I learned that there's a documentary coming, I feel so enthusiastic and excited. So yes, I'm all about Andrea Gibson and her life and her partnership and her wisdom and her embodiment of beauty.
Oh, that's awesome. And she currently battling cancer, you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Prayers for her to fight that. And yeah, that sounds interesting. Thank you. Thank you for that. Mine would be Kathleen Cameron and the work she's doing in the world, because she is like no other. She's truly, if you were to follow her, I mean, nobody's better and nobody's less than message, like we're all one, but we're all equal. And I love that, like just being not, like I don't see ego. Like, and when she talks about ego, it's it's not something we're trying to get rid of, or I mean, ego plays an important role in some ways too in our lives, and it can be positive, kind of like you were talking about the pressure being positive in some ways, right? And ego is similar. And it's just interesting. But this has been just incredibly beautiful. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing. And is there anything else you guys would like to share, or is there something you're offering that you want to share?
I want to just honor the passage of Mama Cat.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but you had a different cat too that passed before, right? Like,
Yes, last at the end of October last year.
and
Yeah.
did you have this cat at that time, or you adopted an older cat, or you had the both?
So I did. My mama cat was actually with my mother on the East Coast. And so in January, I brought her to the West Coast um, to be with me, because Tango and Mama didn't get along toward the end.
Oh.
And so,
Tango.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so you took Mama, and then Mama passed recently. I'm so sorry. I saw that. Will you be adopting a new?
That's not right now. And it was interesting. This morning I thought about the reason why I adopted in the first place. Because I adopted three within 6 months. Was because I was in a different state. Literally, like I moved from Virginia to North Carolina. I moved with somebody. That person returned to Virginia, and I had quote unquote nobody, right? Nothing there, and so I adopted, and then turned into three. And I am working on being loving, being quote unquote alone, because we're never really truly alone, but not using something outside of myself to make me happy or to make me feel loved. And so right now, that's one of the lessons And for the first time in my entire life, I am, again, quote unquote, alone. And I am learning to love that. And so, no, not right now, because the spiritual journey, the human journey is learning to fully be fulfilled by just being in this moment. And we'll see. And I think it'll be a different energy if I choose to adopt in the future. It'll be from this wholeness, not a I'm adopting you because I want somebody to love or to love me, right? There's a difference in that. And so, yeah, it's beautiful. She's still teaching me.
Yeah. No, it is. It is beautiful. I will share that when my last dog passed away in May of 2021, I was not getting another dog. And all of these neighbors and friends, oh, you're such a dog person and you're so good with dogs, which is true. I've had them for 30 years, but I said out loud, I'm tired. I raised a son. I've had dogs for 30 years. I'm tired. I want to take a break. And then I would see dogs and I was like, oh, look how cute, look how cute. And I decided to pet sit, dog sit at my home, and people would drop their dogs off and go away, and I would, and they were all amazing, and most of them were rescues, and they were just amazing dogs. And I said, oh, I'm gonna foster. Let me do a good deed. And so I said, I'm gonna foster a dog. And then next thing you know, I have my dog, and that's a whole story that I have a podcast episode on, a solo episode. But um he is such a godsend, just saying, and a soulmate dog. And it's one of those who rescued who, but truly it was, we both rescued each other. And I didn't even realize I needed that much rescuing, but I couldn't have made the trip to Florida. He's just been, because I have been alone for 2+ years sitting here in this apartment healing, he's been my, you know, just just saying. But that's beautiful. I love that you're embracing alone and, accepting what is and all of that. It is powerful. And it's also something to say that you don't have to take care of anything about yourself. That's a gift.
Yes,
That's nice. It is nice.
true.
It is nice. But thank you for bringing that up, Rain. I definitely wanted to acknowledge the cat mama too.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah.
ladies. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, how will you spend Christmas Day, Athena?
I think volunteering. There is some at the Monterey County Fairgrounds, they have like a big, gathering of people who come in and make boxed kind of meals for others. And so I think that's what I'll be doing. I did that on Thanksgiving. So I think it makes perfect sense to do it again. I enjoyed it then. So yeah.
Nice. I love that. It's beautiful. And how about you, Rain? What do you guys do?
Well, we do a kind of traditional Christmas morning that would be how I was raised, where um, we wake up and open stockings and have some, you know, delicious food that's in the stockings for like an early breakfast. And eventually, all the gifts are open. We usually go for a really nice walk and have some sort of a fantastic meal. Um, so right now in Vermont, where I live with my son and partner, we don't have any family or super close friends nearby. Like we don't like it's really just us, and we have community and connections. But in terms of like a holiday, it's really the three of us, unless somebody comes in to visit. But this year it's the three of us, and I just imagine it'll be a beautiful day.
Like it. Sounds like it. Yeah, for me, it's gonna be Lucky and me. And I even on Thanksgiving, it was us and someone had invited me the day before, and I said I chose because I had already decided what I was gonna, how my Thanksgiving was set up, and I liked it. And I think I had a couple things also that I did on Thanksgiving, like I went to exercise and stuff. But And it's going to be similar but like Netflix or, good food, some good food that I'll be getting. And, I'm excited for just being abundant and blessed and grateful and present and joyous because it's Hanukkah the same day, by the way, this year. They're on the same day. So, yeah, I mean, there's all different situations and things, and I think it's really powerful when we're in gratitude for everything. Like,
Mhm.
and that's how you receive more when you're thankful. And that's something like Kathleen would teach is like, I have this $10 and I love this $10 and I'd love more. And when
Mhm.
you're getting a coffee, it's not, oh, this is expensive. It's, I'm gonna enjoy this delicious coffee and like, embrace and be present with it. And I just love that so much. And that's a way of just mindful, like eating mindful, like it's definitely powerful, right?
Mhm. For sure. And happy Hanukkah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
And
Yes.
I feel I just want to say something about gratitude. I feel so grateful for all of the traditions of the world, all of them. They all are such a wonderful way into what could possibly be happening in the present moment, which is what we're all talking about today. And thank goodness we have all these celebrations for various purposes, various stories, various means, various days. But thank goodness we have diversity in this world.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I think I've grown so much this year. It's incredible and everything's happening for us. It's all for us. Listening to Athena when she shared that like everything is different now and like, like this is the beginning of your next abundant chapter. And you're a gorgeous soul, both of you. And yeah, I just think that we have to release any lack. So that means lack of time, like time's running out, lack of anything, like just not believe in it at all. I just think
Mhm.
that's a powerful way to live. And what else would Kathy Heller say is it's our resourcefulness that is where everything is our resourcefulness. Have either of you gotten her new book, Abundant Ever After?
No, I haven't.
I did. I just got it in the mail and I'm waiting for Libby to give me the Audible. It's
Oh,
not Audible because it's through Libby, but the audiobook.
Oh,
Because
right.
I
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, I like to physically read it at the same time as I hear it. It like actually helps, right? Like actually
oh.
neurologically. And
That's great.
so, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. I have both the Audible and the hard copy, and it's good because I listened to the whole book at 1.5 and loved a lot of it. And a lot of it was just a lot of already things that she had shared through the podcast or just being in her presence and everything. And then having the book is so great to just be able to pick it up and see, little nuggets and stuff. So yeah, it's good. But well, thank you so much for today. It was beautiful. I appreciate your time and sharing your light with us.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for holding the space, creating the space. Thank you. Both of you are it's so wonderful to co-create with you and be in your presence.
I agree. I agree. It's so wonderful to be with both of you. And thank you both so much. And Linda for creating the space, like Athena said. And as far as an offer, I do teach a year-long meditation program. So if anybody wants to meditate with me in a group of others in a private group, so that means nobody drops in. It means the people who are there have decided to be there. And I'll give you all the information, Linda, but that is something that I'm super excited about for the new year. It'll be the second round. everybody from last year is continuing.
Mm.
So it'll be a really great group to step into.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, I attended some of your meditations. Very, very beautiful, powerful. And
Thank
just,
you.
yeah, it's just healing. It's another self-care activity. Yeah. And you, Athena?
Yeah, so I do abundance and manifestation coaching. Right now, I'm doing a package of 10 modules for becoming the magnetic manifester course that I have in addition to 10 hours of coaching. So, really actually putting into our lives the manifestations and the becoming the magnetic manifester that we actually want to become. And we have the power to do so, and tapping into that. And so having the course and the coaching all in one package. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Share the links and I'll put that in the show notes. Amazing.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
Yeah. Thank you. Beautiful.